guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got for you this super cute sun-kissed marble look. This set was named on my community tab. I needed your guys' help, and my subscriber Amber Jump came up with that name, so I do thank you very much for the name. Before we get into the video, I do want to remind you guys to please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you never miss out on any of my videos. My giveaway winner announcements will be going up next week, so you want to make sure those notifications are turned on so you don't miss it. This design will be done on top of the polygel fill that I had posted last week. If you guys haven't seen it, I will have it linked up in the iCards for you. All of the gel polishes that I will be using today are by ModelOnes. It will all be listed in the description box for you guys, of course, with links to where you can find them, as well as any discount codes that I have for any of the brands that I work with. I absolutely love this pinky nude shade. However, it didn't make it into the finished set after doing the marble design on the eggshell type cream color that I'm using here. It just didn't match with those kind of fiery sun-kissed colors, so I did end up changing it in the end and topping it with this same eggshell cream shade, which is why you didn't see the pink in the finished pictures. I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 coats of all of the gel polishes, and then I will be back to show you guys what the next step will be. Very quick disclaimer, I apologize in advance that I'm not as talkative as I normally am. My stomach has been upset all day long, so I am trying to speak a little bit less because the more I talk, the more upset my stomach gets. So I apologize for that. There will be kind of big gaps of time that I'm not talking throughout this, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing, and I will explain anything that I feel is necessary. And of course, I will have music going for you guys to listen to when I am not talking. I am working very hard to get you guys 3 videos a week, consistent uploads. You guys all are so important to me. I appreciate every single one of my subscribers and my viewers, and I love you guys all so much. I feel like I have the best subscribers in the world. You all are so supportive, and I really appreciate you guys. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure I am uploading consistently, and so if I have to deal with a bit of stomach upset while I work hard on these videos for you guys, that's fine by me. I just want to get these videos out so that you guys have content that you want to be watching as well. So I just wanted to give that quick disclaimer, and now I will let you guys watch me do my second coat of polishes, and I will be back here shortly.
She addicted to the manicures and coffee. But don't say that, cause she ain't that. No, she is more than she seems. She addicted to the manicures and coffee. But don't say that, cause she ain't that. No, she is more than she seems. She a diva like my daughter. Gotta have it, she all done up. And if she see it, then she cop it. She don't care if you don't like her. She rockin' crew necks with some bands she never heard of. Black skinny jeans, docs on and her hair done. Got an attitude, she'll give it to your face. She don't really care what anybody thinks. She addicted to the manicures and coffee. But don't say that, cause she ain't that. No, she is more than she seems. She addicted to the manicures and coffee. But don't say that, cause she ain't that. No, she is more than she seems. Got her nails like she walking on a carpet. Take a pic cause she gotta show the new fit. Paper straws cause she gotta say the planet. Wildflower cake, smash a fit cause she planning. She a killer with some money on the way. Gotta pack up and move to LA. She don't need a man, she gon' do it her own way. Take him out on a date and she pay. She addicted to the manicures and coffee. But don't say that, cause she ain't that. No, she is more than she seems. She addicted to the manicures and coffee.
So now that I've gotten 2 coats of gel polish on all of my nails and have cured it for 60 seconds, I'm gonna go in with a blooming gel and these assorted gel polishes, as well as a detail brush to start my design. Now, I did end up covering this first layer with additional layers, so you won't see it really in the end. The biggest part about it for me that was helpful is that it gave me lines of direction, how exactly I wanted to apply my layers later on. So you don't have to include this step, but if you want to, you absolutely can. So I'm starting with a very thin layer of blooming gel. Without curing that while it's still wet, I'm going to apply my gel polishes right into that in a kind of swooping curved motion. I'm going to start with my lightest, working up to my darkest, starting with the peachy shade. Then I'm going to go into the yellow and put it right in the center of the peachy shade, into the orange, which goes again in the center, and then into the red. I'm not going to apply the brown yet. I'm only going to be using the brown just before I top coat it, after all my other layers are done, just to add a little bit more detail.
My heart and hope to die. Lonely, you're the reason why I can feel those butterflies when I go to sleep at night.
So after I got that the way I liked it, I cured it for a full 60 seconds and finished the other two fingers. I didn't leave that in because, like I said, we're going to cover it up. So what I'm going to do now is work from lightest to darkest again. And with this first shade, I did use a gel cleanser to try to blend it out. The gel cleanser has a mix between alcohol and acetone, but I didn't like the effect that I was getting. I was getting almost kind of like little balls or chunks throughout, so I switched at one point to just alcohol, and it worked so much better. So apply your color down, and then you're going to load your brush with alcohol. You can wipe it off or not. I like to leave a little bit of that color on there, and then when I get a lot of alcohol on the nail, I will actually go back and dab some more of that color into that wet alcohol. Here there's just like a little line where the color didn't reach with my blooming gel because I hadn't applied my blooming gel all the way down the edge there. That was my fault for missing a spot. So I just applied some color to try to cover that up and blend it out, and in the end you won't be able to see that like harsh line there. So I'm just going to continue working the color with the alcohol until I like it. Once I've got it blended out the way that I like, I will go ahead and cure that. I'm only curing it for like 30 seconds because it is such a thin layer and it's not completely opaque, so it will cure with the next layer as well because these are not opaque layers. In the end, those lines that we did with the blooming gel, they will be covered completely because I am using so many layers here, but they are individually semi-translucent layers. So 30 seconds was good, and then I will move into my next shade and do it exactly the same way. I apply it down in the kind of shape that I want, and that was, again, what I liked about applying the lines first with the blooming gel and not getting the result that I wanted. It gave me the direction of how I wanted my lines to fall really nicely. So I just blend them out in that same type of shape. I apply it in one line, blend it out with the alcohol in that shape, and then when it's blended out, cure it, go into the next one, and I will continue doing that until I get to the red. The red and the brown I will not be blending out. They will just be a thin line you will see here shortly. So I am going to leave you guys to watch me do this process, and I will be back before we finish.
Drop you a line, say hello. but I already know how it'll go. Small talk, but it's a big deal to me. I get in my feelings too fast, then I'm hurting when you don't write me back. I wish I could give in to my dependency, but I move on because I know it's bad for me. 'Cause seeing you means calling you, means all over roof again, falling for you, means sleepless nights, me in my mind, means craving the hit of you all the time. I can't even have a taste, I can't open up that game.
So after applying this darkest orange color and curing once again, before I apply my lines, I am going in with another very thin coat of my blooming gel, just so that my lines will spread a slight amount. On the thumb, they didn't spread much, but on the pointer and the ring finger, they spread a little bit more. I waited for them a little bit longer. You just have to have some patience with it to spread to the desired effect. So I'm not going to go straight in with my red and brown. I'm starting with the kind of medium yellow, and then into my dark orange, then into the red, and then I will cure it and add the brown afterwards.
Craving the hit of you all the time. I can't even have a taste, I can't open up that game. I can't open up that game.
Once I've got those applied how I like, I give it a moment to spread. And with blooming gel, it will all run to the sides. That's what it's supposed to do. So I wipe off the edges just to make sure I don't get too much bulk. But you will see before we finish how I clean that up if I do get too much bulk. So with this nail and the next nail, I knew my process a bit more. I knew exactly what I was looking for and exactly what I needed to do to get that desired effect. The thumb was kind of like my experiment nail. So with these two nails, you can see I am really loading up that alcohol. I am putting big drops of alcohol to really give a kind of watercolor effect, which is what I wanted. If you want it to be more solid color and less kind of blended, use less alcohol. But the more watercolor that you want it to look, the more alcohol you will use. Then I go in and apply some more color into that alcohol and just continue dabbing it until I'm done. It's basically the same process for these two nails as it was for the thumb, only I'm using more alcohol for these nails. So every time you see my brush go off screen, that is because I am dipping into alcohol. After I apply the line, I did choose to wipe off my brush and go in with straight alcohol because it gave that more semi-transparent wash of like watercolor effect rather than it being more opaque and more, I don't know, maybe like fire or smoky fire colors. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically the thumb, it was a little bit more opaque than I wanted it to be, and it didn't have quite as much of a watercolor effect. So with these nails, I chose to wipe off the brush before applying the alcohol and applying big drops of alcohol to blend that out. If you remove too much with the alcohol, you just dip back into the gel polish color and continue tapping until you get your desired effect. So I will let you guys watch this until I get to the next part, and I will be back then.
Living our life, trying to clean up the mess, 'cause I'm stuck in this route, day in, day out. Thoughts come in, but nothing comes out. I'm still trying to feel on top, wishing all the shit would just come to a stop. Trying to fill the holes in our souls, trying to feel the music, let it take control. Stuck on the bottom, trying to feel on top, wishing everything would just come to a stop.
Okay, so that's the last layer for this kind of base effect. So once again, applying a very thin layer of blooming gel. And then for this nail, instead of starting with that medium yellow color like I did on the thumb, I'm starting with the orange shade. Then I'll go in, add my red right in the center of that orange, and we'll cure it before we go in and do the brown. But I will allow it to spread out for a little while so it can bloom and just become a little bit faded. I didn't have enough patience to continue waiting, but I wish I would have, because it could have looked a little bit more kind of wispy, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But always just make sure when using blooming gel that you wipe down those sidewalls before curing, because otherwise you can get a lot of bulk there on those sides and it can ruin your look. Make sure when you are wiping down gels of any kind, blooming gel, regular gel polish, anything at all, wear a glove or use a lint-free nail wipe. Otherwise, you can risk allergic reactions. Okay, so now that that has been cured, I am going in with my brown and I'm creating very thin lines, kind of weaving its way almost opposite to the curves of the red. So the red goes one way, I want my brown to go just slightly off, and then I do a couple little areas where it kind of breaks into two lines and comes back into one. You'll see what I'm doing. The thinner that you want your line, the more upright you want to stand your brush. If you lay your brush down, it will create a thicker line. So if you are trying to master thin, super thin lines, stand your brush up real tall. You'll see when I tip my brush up and I have less polish on it, it creates much more fine detail lines. Took me a long time to figure that out, but hopefully the tip for you guys will help.
Please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. Tata, no worries. Please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly.
Now that I've got all those fingers done, I'll give it a final cure for 60 seconds. This was when I was looking and deciding that pink just didn't look right. So I'm just going to go over it with one coat of that same kind of eggshell color, and it will be enough to cover up that pink. They do have a tiny bit of a difference between the marble nails, but it's not that much. You would really have to be looking for it to see the difference, and it looks good to me. So I only did the one coat. I didn't want to add too much bulk onto this nail and make it really thick. So after I do that, I will cure it for 60 seconds, and then we will go into top coat and bling application.
Let's get girly. Tata, no worries. Please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly.
So I'm going to cure this for 60 seconds, and then I'm applying my top coat just to my marble nails. This is a new and improved formula for ModelOnes. It's supposed to be like more durable. It doesn't scratch as easy. It lasts longer as far as shine goes. It doesn't like dull. So I am testing it currently, and I've had these nails on for about a week now, and it's just as shiny as when I applied it. So I will keep you guys updated and let you know if I see any difference in the formula, but it will also be linked in the description box if you would like to test it for yourself. So I did not apply top coat on these eggshell nails because I'm applying my bling. I apply my bling with my McCart rhinestone gel. It is my favorite for bling application, and I'm using a gold Swarovski crystal with some gold caviar beads to surround that crystal. When I do one piece of bling right in the center like this, I always make sure to line it up with the tip of the nail, because that is what will really make it look off center. If you only center it based on the cuticle area, it won't look right, but if you center it based on the tip, it will. So I always flip my hand around and look at it from behind, because it looked almost center the other way and it looked way crooked this way. So in my final pictures, you will see that it does look a little off center when I am looking at my nails, like in this position here where I hold them down and the thumb kind of together. This middle finger looks kind of off center, but when I look from what is called the client perspective, where you flip your fingers around and look from the top like this, it looks straight that way. So they are straight, just this one looks a little bit crooked in some perspectives. Then I'm just going to do the same thing to the pinky nail, and then I will show you guys the next step. Once I've got that centered properly, I'm going to cure it for 60 seconds. For the first nail, I do like 15 seconds just to secure it into place so it doesn't move, and then I do 60 seconds in the end. Now I'm taking my top coat and I cover the entire nail all the way up the side walls and everything, but I can't really get super close and I can't get behind this piece of bling. So I use my detail brush just to make sure that the sides of these caviar beads are completely capped with that top coat and it gets behind it as well. That will help keep it from snagging on anything like hair. It'll have that smooth transition down and it will last you the entire time you have this set on. This is the way I do all of my bling, whether there's caviar beads or not. I always make sure I apply that top coat right up to the edge of the bling and then use my detailer brush to bring that top coat right around to in that edge. I don't want to cover the bling. You can cover the caviar beads, but if you cover the Swarovski crystals, they will not have the same effect. So my last step here is going to be cleaning up the shape of a couple of these nails. This one and my other eggshell nail looked a little bit bulky because of having that 3 layers of gel. So I shaped them better and made sure that I was happy with the shape, and then I just finished up those sidewalls with a very thin layer of top coat after I cleansed off the dust. I did the same thing on my thumb.
Even though you stress about the small shit sometimes, nothing I can say to you could change up your mind. I'll get on your nerves and then we'll fight. Give you all the space you need in on those nights, yeah. Even on your worst days, when you get in my face, tripping on something that I've done, yeah. I would never listen my what converse and run out on you. I know we got a problem. I would never walk out on you. I wanna let you know, even when it gets hard.
Okay guys, so after I cure this for 60 seconds, just gonna finish up with some cuticle oil, rub that in really well, and we will be all set. Be sure to let me know what you guys think down below. And of course, as always, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you guys. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye!